Hi everyone, this is Gail. Welcome tonight to Overcoming the Obstacles. I see that we've already been joined by two people. We've got Valerie Reese in the house and we've got Gloria Accardo in the house. Let's see, Gloria says she's going to be listening. So, okay, Gloria, great. I'm just glad you can hang out with us at all. So, and we've got Valerie. So, hi, Valerie. Shortly, we should be joined by Candytheweeservicedog. I sent her the information on her both her accounts on Facebook, both hers, which is Laurel Stewart, and then Candy the Wee Service Dog, which is Candy, her wee service dog. So she's got both of those, and hopefully we'll be in here in just a few minutes. And let's see. We have got Pet and Chick also here. So hi, Pet and Chick. Good to see you all. So yay! And of course, as you know, we've got Faeriannas. So hi! And as you all know, this is part of the hashtag Black Friday charity fundraiser. And we do it every year. This is year number 6. I cannot believe this is year number 6 because it seems like yesterday. So in order to make this fundraiser a success again this year, there's a couple of things I need you to do to help me out. One is I need you to share this. Tell everybody you know, share this live stream so they can find out more about us. So click the share button. And of course, I invite you to subscribe if you have not already done so. And there is a bunch of channels. This is like a magnificently large collab. And there are a bunch of channels that are participating. So I want you to check all of those out. They're all listed in the description box, with a couple of exceptions that have decided to jump in and join us. And I'm going to update that right now. But at 6 p.m., the next live streams are at 6 p.m. Mokenchitv. Then at 7, we have AOK Foraging Adventures. Then we have Hockenberry Holler at 8. 10 p.m. we have Max Wethersfield, and 11 o'clock it's me again over on my other channel, and that is going to be a premiere. It's music, so it's 1 hour of Christmas music. So we'll be enjoying that together on the stream, and it's just a time where we can just chat in the chat and relax without anybody, namely me, having to worry about putting on makeup or getting all gussied up or anything like that. So that it's going to be a premiere. Yes, Kenny, I can definitely send you the link again. Give me just a minute to get in here and do that. Just a minute here. And let's see. Hold on just a second, because I was just posting the adjusted schedule down below. So let me get the StreamYard link over there to you. What a day this has been. I've been so excited about everybody coming together for this. You know, it's amazing to see all the different channels and the way everybody's so supportive of one another. It is like, this collab is like the coolest thing going. And Candy, I am sending you that link again right now. So there, you should have it. All right. And Valerie is saying that we are $1,071. Now that is great, but I really think that we can beat that. So, you know, I said there's a couple of things I want you to do to help out, and that is, if you can, click that GoFundMe link down below. It's right there. It's down there. It's in the description box. I know you see it. I just know you do. So if you will click that, then you have the opportunity to donate with GoFundMe. And the link also has information about where the money's going, the charity we support, and so forth, which is, it's Valerie's church. She does an amazing lot of good through her church. So the funding is going there. And I'm just going to read you what she's written because she put it better than anybody else. And that is, she says, thanks to everyone who helped out with this fundraiser for the past 5 years, because like I said, this is number 6, and everyone who is helping this year. Because of your generosity, we are feeding 25 children throughout the year. Backpacks of food are given to children so they don't go hungry over the weekends and in the summer months. We are also adopting 3 children this year and supplying them with clothing and gifts for Christmas. And we'll be filling at least 30 Salvation Army Christmas stockings. Please consider donating so a child won't go hungry. So here we are, we're feeding 25 kids. I'm just going to pull this up so you all can see it. And that's 25 kids that we need to help. And here it is right now. So if we can help with feed these kids, that would be like Christmas, you know. And we don't want to give until it hurts. We want to give until it makes us feel good. So whatever amount, and I don't care if you only want to donate a couple of bucks. I said earlier, and I'm going to repeat saying this, don't think that the amount that you give is too small to make a difference. Because I was just at the Dollar Tree today, just making sure that they have gloves in stock, and lo and behold, they do. So if you donate $1.25, then you have just helped 2 children with gloves. If you donate $5, you've helped 8 kids with gloves. If you donate $10, and you know, you can just do the math from there, but you can see how many kids that you have that you're helping. So by all means, it's not the size of the donation, it's the size of the heart. Okay? So keep that in mind. No donation is too small or too large. Okay? And let's see, Laurel is here. So I'm going to go ahead and add her to the stream.
Okay.
So hi, Laurel.
Hello. Sorry for all the problems.
It's fine. I am going to adjust my stuff right here.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can take this background, virtual background off. I think that'll be clearer. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, that's the truth.
All right. What do you, hang on just a second. What do you want? What do you want? Have you, come on in here. Come on. Here, hop up on my lap. Let everybody see you for a second so they can see who it is that's interrupting the stream. Lap up. Lap up. Come on. Come on. No, you just want to scrape my leg? Why are you just... No, I'm fine. Pause up. Come on. Come on. There you go. See, this is who is interrupting the stream. Hello. Yeah.
Hi, Pipsy.
Okay. Sorry about. Okay. Here, check me.
I'm grabbing a bite to eat real quick.
I just failed my check. I didn't expect that. Sorry about that, you all. Hey, Stellar Piper. Hold on. I'll be nice. It's okay. I just failed my check. Go. Go, go, go. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Didn't see that one coming. Speaking of service dogs, which is our topic for tonight, that was mine that you all just saw. And he was, I should have thought to like show you what he was doing, but one of the things that my service dog does is he checks me for blood sugar. And so he hopped up here, and we just gotten home a few minutes ago. So I blew in his face and I said, check me, because he was pawing at my leg, and I failed my check. So if
do I need to bring you juice? Or
yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Orange juice in a glass. Yeah. And Stellar Piper is here. Sorry about that, you all. But it's embarrassing, but it's sort of on topic since that's what we're taking.
Yeah, right.
That's what our topic is today. So
Right.
yeah, sorry about that. But anyhow, I've got some questions here to ask Laurel, which her service dog is Candy the Wee Service Dog. So where my little Pipsy here is 75 pounds, hers is a little Chihuahua, and
she's 6 pounds.
She's how much?
6 pounds.
6 pounds.
About how much? Yeah, how much Pipsy's mouth would weigh?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So, and of course, my previous one was a Husky mix, so he has both feet combined. So yeah, what you gonna do? But anyway, Laurel has the channel Candy the Wee Service Dog, and we've known each other for a while now through YouTube. YouTube gets a bad rap, but it's really a cool place. And this live stream is an example of how cool things can get when you have a community that comes together, united around a cause, and kind of shaping that conversation for the benefit of other people, especially when we're talking about families who are food insecure, families who are in crisis, children who are food insecure. The thing is, people can point fingers at the parents and say it's their fault, but at the end of the day, grazie. But at the end of the day, the kids are the ones who pay that price. We just write the checks and do the GoFundMe to help feed the kids. Because, as I just said a few minutes ago, I got a couple of people who have just come in. So hi and welcome. This is the Black Friday charity live stream fundraiser. It's a giant collab with several channels taking part. It started this morning at 7 a.m. and it's going to run until we hang up at midnight. Different channels are participating, so check out the lineup down below. But the money that we raise goes to feed kids with a backpack program. 25 children get fed throughout the year with the backpack program. And these are the way the backpack program works is kids who are food insecure at the school get this backpack of food to take home over the weekend. And then ideally on Monday, but sometimes it's Tuesday because kids forget, they bring the backpack back, volunteers stuff it, and they send it back home on Friday. And so nobody really has to know that the kids are taking food home if the kids don't want them to know, because it's just a backpack. It's just that they've got 2 backpacks that Friday instead of 1. So it's only the people that they want to know. So it keeps it kind of stealth for the kids, which for some is really good. So there's 25 kids that are being fed throughout the year, and we don't want to disappoint them. So hit that GoFundMe link. Also share it and just hang out in the live streams. The channels that are monetized, this one is not, but the channels that are monetized, we do ask that those funds that are raised on that channel, on that particular live stream, on that particular day, get donated to the cause. But, we've all tossed in money, and it's much more than any one particular live stream is going to make. Because unless your name is PewDiePie or Mr. Beast, most channels aren't going to make anything much. In fact, there's no payout until you cross that magic $100 Google AdSense threshold. And that for channels that are the size of ours participating, that can be months, y'all, or years or more. So, when you donate through the GoFundMe link. But this is a fabulous community. I've made lifelong friends here in the community. And Laurel certainly is one of the folks that I have met that is a lifelong friend now. And I've met Valerie and some others that I am just dying to meet and just haven't gotten there yet. But my other channel is a travel channel, and you never know where I'm going to show up. So hopefully, yeah. And if anybody's on the route from Virginia to New Mexico and New Mexico to Alaska, cutting through Washington State and going up that way, then talk to me if you want to get together and do like a joint live stream, or you just want to meet somewhere for coffee. Yeah, I'll talk to you because I'll be going back up to Alaska this summer, and Valerie is going with me. So,
okay.
Yeah, so if Valerie's going with me, that Alaska will never be the same. Just saying. So anyway, without further ado, let me introduce the lady of the hour. And this is Laurel, and she is owned by the service dog, Candytheweeservicedog. I hate to say that you own her because I think sometimes Laurel's the other way around.
Oh yeah, she definitely thinks she owns the whole house. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, first of all, I was married for 42 years, and my husband passed away in 2018, and I already had some mental issues at that time, but they kind of stayed at bay. But when he went into the nursing home, it got, worse again. And so my doctor suggested to have an ESA. And I had an 11-year-old Chihuahua that I had from she was, 8 weeks old. She suddenly developed acute pancreatitis, and it's fatal. There's no cure for it. And so, of course, we had to put her to sleep because I could have kept her on for a couple more months, but that would have been selfish of me. It would have just been torturous for her. So, anyways, she passed away 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, which that was bad enough, And so, come around Christmas, I was thinking, I coming home to an empty house. I mean, I was with my husband at the nurse home during the day and come home at night. It just was too much. And so my doctor suggested the ESA. And so I was looking around, and really I didn't know if I really wanted to get one. I kind of went back and forth with the issue, and I just prayed about it. I felt like God wanted me to, of all places, to look on eBay. And they have certain regulations when you sell animals on eBay. They have to have a certain license. And so I got to talk to the vet, and Candy was raised by a foster mom and dad, meaning they took in puppies or strays, and they, by being in a foster home rather than in a shelter, they got to know the animal, what they were, what they do good around other dogs, cats, people, whatever. And so she called Candy her foster family, meaning that she wanted to keep her for herself, but then her husband's health declined, so they couldn't keep Candy. So I got Candy, and after I think I had her about 6 weeks, and she started doing some kind of strange things to me that nothing bad, but she would either brush up against my leg, or she would nose bump my leg. Well, it was always the same leg. At that time, it was my left leg that had the neuropathy. And sure enough, usually she would do it about between 10 to 15 minutes in advance before my leg would go out. So that's when I was trying to find out about. I thought, see, at that time I didn't know much about service dogs. I thought you had to have them professionally trained. So I was trying to find a trainer. There was one gentleman, but he was kind of leery because she was, quote, a Chihuahua. So when I found out from a friend that she had trained her own dog to be a service dog, I said, well, let me check it. As I read on ADA, I called the Department of Justice that oversees that, and they said, yes, you can, in fact, train your own service dog. So that's when I had friends that were animal behaviorists, animal trainers, and that they trained their own service dogs. So I had like about 5 or 6 people that gave me tips and advice of how to train Candy, and so yeah. The one friend, she was going to do the public access test with me, but she was going to have to come down from up in Toledo, and unfortunately, she ended up having some health problems that she couldn't come down, and she wasn't going to be able to come down for about at least a year. So she basically told me how to do the public access test myself. She said, really, you can do it yourself if you know what you're doing. So she told me exactly what to do. And so then I did that, and then I kind of scored her, and I kept a little journal of that. And I think I did it twice because she did it fine the first time. I mean, she passed, but I think I wanted her to be just a little bit sharper on certain things. Yeah. So
And
I
see,
did
that
it again.
test is so critical, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I will just straight up tell you, this is
Yeah.
not an easy test for the
No,
service dogs to pass, and they
it's not
have
for the
to.
faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. And yeah, and then like I was saying, I had told you this, but some people don't realize you have to it sounds mean, but you have to desensitize them. They can't, react in a negative way when people do certain things. And so one of the things is you have to pinch them. Not, I shouldn't say the word pinch. You have to put pressure in between their toes, that little skin, because they're sensitive there. And the reason is that because if a child came up and grabbed Pipsy's paws and did that, you wouldn't want him to try to bite or growl or whatever. Now,
Right.
here's the thing here's what ADA tells me. They don't expect the dog to be a robot because they are a living thing. So they can react as long as it's in a positive way. In other words, they can look, they can even be a little bit surprised. They just can't growl. They can't try to lunge for the person's hand. So they can't bark, growl, or lunge or act in any aggressive way. Now they can actually yell. So if somebody pinches between the toe, they can go like and you know how a dog yelps, and that is not a negative reaction. Let me do that. Let me pull your hair really hard, Gail, and see if you don't make a sound. You're going to make a sound. So as long as they're not doing it in an aggressive manner, that's what they're looking for. And so that's what I did with Candy. I had to do that.
Now with us, our test was a little different.
Okay.
And Tanya's in the house. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
Tanya has a service dog from the same agency that I got mine from.
Right.
And for us, we did our public access test in the mall, next to the food court, next to an arcade and play area. Like if there was ever a worse place for a dog to have to focus, that's where they put us, because that's the kind of situation the dogs are in real life. So we took them there, and they bounced a ball around the dogs. And when I say bounce the ball around the dogs, I'm talking like a foot away from their paw and head, and they're bouncing it all over. And the dog could look, like you said, but it couldn't react. It couldn't try to get the ball.
Right.
And then they dropped French fries right in front of his little nose, like a few inches away.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, those French fries are like so gone, you know. But he didn't move. So those are the kinds of things. They had a kid walk right over him, right in between his paws, right all around him. Nothing, no problems. And they had someone who was known to the trainers, but a stranger to the dog, come up and took the dog away. And that for me was like bittersweet, because you know it means your service dog is going to go with just anybody, and that's a little concerning when you start thinking about, you know, like theft issues and so forth. But it's also very needed, because of if you are ever fallen or passed out or had a seizure. Like with me, I have epilepsy, so I have grand mal. So like when I have a seizure, I'm just out. You know, you don't want a problem with EMS coming up and having to work with you, and your dog not allowing that to happen, which has happened. So the access tests are extremely important, and they're really hard, I think. What do you think? Tanya, type in the comments. Did that it was hard?
No, I did all those things too, Gail. And in fact,
part of the test.
One of the nice things was, because unfortunately I live in a senior village, the fire department was always up here taking somebody out to the emergency. So I asked them, could they, because there's always like 6 guys. So they would pet Candy with their rough gloves on. They would put the mask on. So she was not scared of their mask. She wasn't scared of their gloves. A couple times they took the hose off because they thought, just in case, because when there's a fire alarm off, they don't know if there's a real fire or not. But they let they kind of whipped the not they didn't hit her, but kind of whipped the hose around, and she didn't startle. And so we did all that. And in fact, I started out in pet friendly stores, and those are places that I shouldn't say store, businesses. As long as they don't serve food or sell food, then they can allow, if the manager wants to let you bring your pet in there, you're allowed to. So I took her to pet friendly places when I was training her. I took her to the bank where, you know, we had to wait in line, and then we would creep up and wait, and creep up and wait, and you know, and people would walk by and stuff. And then the one time that what was it? We went to the mall. That was the craziest thing. Here I have my dog on my lap, right? And I'm on a mobility scooter, right? And they literally almost ran into me and the dog. And I mean, a couple times our hands would bump her. She just ignored it. But so she was used to all the noises. At the hospital, as long as it's not a sterile environment, you know, the dog can come. It doesn't have to be, you know, I mean, you know, as long as it's not a sterile environment, they can come in. And so
they can go most places humans can go.
Yeah. So
and I got a couple of photos up here that I'm showing from.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yes.
Candy just behaved perfectly. Perfectly.
Well, now I have a 4-wheeler, so now she's got plenty of room down there. But when I had to go get X-rays, now they have it so there's, as long as the dog is, I think they had Candy about 15 feet away from where the X-rays are done, the dog can be in the room with me. But this one place was really small, so I put Candy on my scooter. I had to leave her out in the hallway while I was in the X-ray room, and I put my coat over her. That coat over her signaled that she's just to lay there and be quiet. So nobody knew that there was this dog under my coat, okay? Aww. And I had a full body scan, so that took an hour, okay?
That takes
So
a
when I
while.
come
Yeah,
out,
I've done
okay,
that.
so there's people sitting in the waiting area. And so I come out and I lift up my coat to put on my coat. And this one lady, she goes, oh, and I said, oh, what's wrong? And she goes, I didn't know there was a dog there. She was there all that time.
That's
I said,
what you
yeah,
want. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's
but she was so
if
startled
the
because
dog is not acting like that, then you either have an undertrained service dog or you
right,
have, I hate to say the term faker, but
yeah,
that's
but
what you got.
but the thing is, she didn't even wiggle. So I mean, they might have noticed something there that if the coat would have wiggled, but she just lay.
Lay
And so
there waiting on you. She
yeah, so
probably
yeah,
took a nap. She was
she
probably
did.
like, I have a break now from having to work, so I'm just going to snooze it.
Well, and that's one of the things when you have, and not everybody agrees with it, but the people that help train me, there's a difference between telling your dog down and downstay. What downstay is telling the dog is you're going to be that for a very long time. So you're allowed to get up and reposition yourself, but you can't leave that spot. And so that's what I would do with Candy, is I'd put her in the downstay. So she could have got up and turned around and got in a better position, but she didn't. She apparently, she must have been just totally knocked out. But yeah, the other thing, oh, this was cute. I went to go get cortisone shot in my knee. Okay, Candy's sitting in my scooter about 6 or 7 feet away from my orthopedic doctor, right? And so she's watching him put that stuff, how they freeze your knees. You know, they spray that freeze on, and it makes that kind of stuff. And she turns her head, she's just listening, like, "Oh, that sounds neat." And then he pulls out the needle, Gail, and he slowly pulls off the cap. And the dog about died laughing. He almost
dog died laughing
because this is what Candy did. If she would have suddenly moved, it wouldn't have been so funny. But she saw that cap. She saw the cap come off, and what she did, she went like this. Like, I don't see anything, Mom. I'm not.
Yeah, I would bet that the doc doesn't see that every
She
day.
did very, very slow, and that's what made him laugh. He said if he would have just suddenly turned around, it would have been so funny. But she was trying to make it look like, oh, I'm not abandoning my mom, but I am. She knew what that needle could do. You're going your own, Mom.
They also see those at the vet's office.
But the thing is, she didn't overreact, is what I'm trying to show you. A dog that's not trained well might have jumped. She might have, if she wasn't trained, she could have jumped off the scooter and ran or whatever. But yeah, she just said like, "Okay, Mom, I don't hear you. Did you say something?" You know, kind of. And he just about died laughing. He said, "I'm sorry, but that was so funny." He did. He said that was the cutest thing that she did. But yeah, so I had to desensitize her to a lot of things.
Even my doctor, like when I went in with Pipsy, she turned around as she was going out of the room. She has a new nurse. And I heard her tell the nurse as she went out of the room, you know, look, they have a honest trained service dog. And so she wouldn't, because they get fakers too, and they get tired of it. And I think any doc would. So now, you know, I know Candy was an ESA first. How did you decide that you needed a service dog and not just an ESA? And for those who are listening, an ESA is an emotional support dog. So a doctor has signed a letter for housing so that the dog can stay with the person. It's basically a letter saying that the person is better off with a support animal, and they're basically.
Well, no, wait, that's not correct. That's not correct. It's not. ADA will tell you, you must have a mental disability.
Not for an emotional support.
Yeah, no, you do. You call the Department of Justice. They will tell you, an emotional support animal, you have to have. If you don't have, the wording is, you have to have a mental disability or through interviews of family, and the doctor's observation assumes that you have a certain, just by watching you, they can tell you that maybe you have social anxiety, or you have, like me generally. So they have to have you either have a diagnosis of mental disability, or it's assumed that you have one due to certain observations of the doctor and family. And so, yes,
well, the person that I had spoken with once before about it, when I was checking up on something that was said on this channel, and I will clarify, I have a service dog, which is different from an ESA, much more training involved. That's different than what I was told, but you're the person who would know more because you've had an ESA.
Right, and all you got to do is call the Department of Justice, because it doesn't matter what state you're in. An ESA, that's why the letter's not just saying you would do better having that, because that's just what do you call that? That's just an opinion of the doctor rather than an actual saying, oh, this person needs it.
Okay.
You have to have a need for that animal, because otherwise everybody would want to be bringing their dog in and say, oh, I need for emotional support.
Now, with an emotional support animal, that letter only works with housing.
Well, it used to help with airlines, but not anymore. Yeah.
You have to have a service dog or a service animal.
And then the housing
are allowed.
And then the housing has to be more than 4 units. So if there's, and even with 4 units, if the owner lives in one, then they don't have to follow that rule. So they have to be more than 4 units in the building, and then you have to go through the procedure of asking for reasonable accommodations. And that letter states, now the doctor does not have to say exactly what's wrong with you. They don't have to say you're a manic depressive or nothing like that, but they do need to say that how does she go? I'll have to get my letter one day out. But basically it says, I am Laurel's doctor, and I've been blah blah for so long, and she needs an emotional support due to blah blah blah. But it was real fancy terminology, so that even the owners wouldn't know. But basically, it's saying that I had mental issues. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because
now with a service dog, it's a lot more complicated. If you're going to train your dog yourself, it's not, you don't have quite as many hoops to jump through. But like I just got the first one I had, we owner trained. The second one, which is Pipsy, we got him through an agency, and that agency required a letter from the doctor that spelled out what your disabilities are, how long your doctor has been your doctor, and how you would benefit from having a service dog. And then, a few letters, along with that for references and so forth. And I've actually done a video on my other channel about the process of getting a service dog. So if y'all want to check that out, that's over on the other channel. But I do want to remind you, don't forget, you all, like this video, please, and share it, and donate if you can. That GoFundMe link. I think Valerie posted it a minute ago. There it is now.
And if you have a friend or a family member that could maybe use a service dog, allow them to, watch this. But yes, I want the difference between the ESA. You have to have a mental disability, but it's not. You can go out in public without it. It doesn't mean you don't have those mental issues when you go out in public, but you can pretty well handle it whatever amount of time you go out there. And so for an emotional an ESA to become a service dog, you have to substantially you know what I'm trying to say.
One or
You
more
have to have a
disabilities.
substantial, yeah, so you can't just, you know, have a meltdown. You have to have, you know, a panic attack, you know,
Mobility, panic, asthma, severe
yeah,
asthma.
well, no, I'm talking about the mental part. It's panic attacks, PTSD, and anxiety attacks. And so, then they're a psychiatric service dog.
Right. And they have to be task trained to help with those. You know,
right,
just
and that's what I'm saying.
and making you feel better isn't enough.
Right.
How did you decide that you needed to move Candy from ESA to service dog and get that training? How did you decide that you needed to do that?
I actually didn't start out with the mental part. I started out when I told you about Candy bumping my leg, and I had the neuropathy in that left leg. So the doctor said, well, yeah, she's alerting that. And the doctor even kind of knew a little bit. She said, well, talk to your vet, and your vet could help. So my vet did. My one vet, she's semi-retired. She still works. She's a traditional vet, but she's also what do you call it? What do you call it when they use more natural kind of? I don't want to say homeopathic, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, homeopathic.
Yeah, but that's not what she really is. But anyways, she's had some service dog training of what you need to do to have to train for a certain task, and so she was telling me to shape what Candy's doing into a task. So she gave me tips on that, but that was the first thing. So she was doing one task at that time because she was already potty trained. We already did the public, the public access stuff. So she just had to have that one task, and they have to be able to perform it 95% of the time. So if you have 100 panic attacks, they need to make sure. I mean, that dog needs to be right on it 95 times.
95%.
Right. Yeah. So that's what it was, and so that's why. And another word which my again, like I said, my vet, she was familiar with service dog. They call that bomb proofing them, so that they're going to do that task and you can rely on them. You're not going like, oh, I'll do it today and not tomorrow. Oh, I'm too interested in the birds flying. So they got to, yeah. And so that's what.
The thing about Pipsy, Tanya said that, you have to take time. You have to get to know your service dog, and the service dog has to get to know you.
Exactly.
I agree. And the thing about Pipsy is once in a while, he'll lose his focus when we're out somewhere. But even when he does that, if he thinks that my blood sugar is dropping, he stops what he's doing and he lets me know. Like we were at the dog park the other day and he came running up to me to get the ball and I had it in my hand and he kind of sniffed at my hand. Yeah. And then he sat down and I was like, why are you sitting down, you silly dog? You're a Labrador Retriever. Go get the ball. And so I threw it and he remained sitting and he pawed at my leg. And I was like, oh no. So I leaned down and I blew in his face and I'm like, check me. And so he keeps pawing at my leg. So I had to go. I had to get my juice box. I like having her bring it in a little while ago. Sorry about that, folks. But I had the juice and I felt better. And then I was like, check me again. And, this was after a few minutes. So, dogs don't automatically like turn off. But even when we were at the dog park, he does that. So he's young and sometimes he'll sway his attention around, but he'll come right back to center to focus.
And he's still really young. It
takes a while to get there.
But he's still really young too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He is. Yeah. He's now up to 18 months. So
but still, a lot of times people don't get their dog until they're 18 months. I know with the Association for the Blind, they don't get their dogs till between 18 to 24 months.
A lot of places go 18 to 24.
So yeah. So he's
So,
doing well. But
so
yeah, so
yeah,
that's why
he is.
we went from
He
the
is dead on the mark when it comes to alerts. He's
yeah,
alerted for my husband, and
yeah,
he's just right on the money. He knows that if your blood sugar is 200 or above, it's like he knows that magic mark. And
yeah,
if your blood sugar is like 70, he knows at that mark. Or like with me, if it's around the 80s, but it's dropping fast, then he knows. Because like I went in one day and I was like, I feel perfectly fine. And I'm kind of arguing with him. So I checked my
yeah,
blood sugar. It was 81. No problems at all.
yeah.
Well, he kept pawing at my leg and pawing at my leg. So about 10 minutes later, I went in and I checked it again, and I was starting to feel a little off, and it was 68.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I knew it was dropping. But anyway,
Right. Well,
what do your Candy's obviously a small dog. What do
right.
you think some of the advantages are of having a smaller dog over a bigger dog? And I want to
Well,
get this because a
the
lot of
food
people
cost is one of them.
dogs.
The food cost is one of them. You know, I mean, she doesn't eat that much. She eats about a fourth of a cup in the morning and a fourth of a cup at night. So a half a cup of food. So
That's a lot different from a lab. I can promise you
yeah,
that.
that would probably be one lick for Pipsy, huh?
Yeah, just
Um,
about. It would have
but
been
as
for the
far,
husky mix.
but I'll tell you though, as far as vet care, it kind of is the same because, I mean, because they have the same needs they got to be checked for all these different, things. So, different blood tests. It doesn't matter if they're taking a lot of blood or a little blood, they're going to, charge you the same, which I think they shouldn't. I don't think I should pay $19 for that. Well, I'm serious though, because with that sample of blood, I have friends that are vets, and they said because they don't need that much blood from Candy. What they would take like from Pipsy, they could do 6 or 7 tests with Candy, so they could
Right.
do. Like they said, they were checking
So
to
it's the
make sure she
same
didn't have.
test and the same equipment.
Yeah, here's the other downside, which and they're still trying to veterinarians are working even on this, that the dosage for the vaccinations are ridiculous. Candy gets the same dosage that Pipsy gets.
No, I don't think so. I have to get
Yes, it
52
is.
pills.
Nope, it's the same. I have at least half a dozen friends that are veterinarians, and a couple of them are in different states, and one of them works for Mansfield in Minnesota. And I'm telling you, yes, it is. When you get the rabies shot, it is the same potency.
Oh, I was thinking heartworm and the monthly heartworm discs.
No, I'm talking about the vaccinations.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that makes sense on the vaccination.
And that's a lot more critical, because it's one thing you giving, so many cc's to Pipsy, which is, like you said, close to 100 pounds, and a little 6-pound Chihuahua. And,
big difference there.
Yeah. And, actually, there was a problem with what you were talking about, the heartworm test, because a couple of manufacturers took their monthly heartworm off the market because it was the same dosage a bigger dog was getting, and many of the little dogs either had seizures or they had convulsions, and
That's a whoops.
Yeah, so yeah, and so but anyways, there's best of trying to change that. But like I said, I have to get her I get her the rabies shot. I don't do the Bortella because she doesn't get boarded, and I don't do that other. There's a couple tests I don't.
We do that with dog parks.
And you talk to your vet about it, but basically, her care costs about relatively the same as yours. Because I mean, usually when you go in there for if an office visit's $40, it doesn't matter if I'm taking my pet chinchilla or big old Doberman, they're going to charge
Gotcha.
the same. So the vet costs equal about the same. And of course, with equipment, it's a lot cheaper because Candy's harnesses are going to be a lot cheaper than Pitsy's. Plus, you need them for
This is
different.
very expensive, heart-stoppingly expensive.
And then you need them for specific things, like for
Right.
the yeah. But
Yeah.
but
This is a few $100s for the harness.
Yeah. But you also have to decide too, if something was to happen to you, who would take care of, Pitsy's
Yeah.
thing. But I've got friends that would take care of.
We have a list.
Yeah,
Person A, person B, person C.
Yeah. Well, we got like a collaborative, so between four of them, they would make sure Candy got the care she needed. But yeah, you can't just go ahead and get a service on you and like, wow, what if I, die tomorrow? Who's gonna? You do need to plan that out.
Yeah.
If you want to be responsible for your animal. The other thing, excuse me, I do kind of caution people with mental problems, depending how well they're able to handle it, because they might not because sometimes, especially if you have ones that, like me, like at least I can handle mine pretty well, but like social anxiety and agoraphobia and stuff like that, it's actually going to make it worse because people are going to see your dog and they're going to want to talk to you more, come up to you more than
more.
If you didn't have a dog, they probably wouldn't even notice you're in the building, But so yeah, if you don't want that attention from public, then a service dog might not be a good fit for you. The other thing you got to consider is how much in the public you're going to go and not go, because you have to keep up on their skills. Like with COVID,
keep up on the skills. You have to keep up on medications.
Well, but I meant just keeping up on their task and their skills, and not forgetting things, because like when COVID hit and I didn't go out as much, I noticed Candy was when we did go, she kind of got a little bit like you were saying with Pitsy, a little bit distracted at first because we hadn't
hadn't gone out as much. Yeah,
I mean, she knew where she was at, but it's like, oh, we haven't been here for a while, Mom. Let me just check this out. So yeah,
I see that.
And that's why I think when people say, how long? I mean, how much? Like I always said, your training is never done. Candy's gonna be 10 years old. I still.
You have to continually work with the dog.
Right, and you have to do it daily. It doesn't mean you have to spend a whole lot of time. I mean, I might spend between 5 to 15 minutes. Depends what we're working on, what skill we're working on. But we work on at least 1 or 2 skills every day. Like I'll purposely pretend like sometimes she's too doggone smart and knows that I'm faking it. But sometimes I'll fake like I'm having a panic attack, and she'll come over and sniff me and walk away like, you're faking it, kind of like, because one of the things that I do, I don't know if I can, but I go like this, and this means that I need a hug. Let me see, Candy. No, she knows I'm faking it.
Of course, part of it is your heart rate, your breathing, all of that goes in together, and your dog focuses in on that.
Right. And then when you're talking about Pipsy alerting to other family members, Candy's done that with, I have a friend that has 2 of the problems. She has PTSD and she has the GAD, the general anxiety disorder. And we went and seen, what was that movie? Oh, I Can Only Imagine. And the one scene, it gets really emotional. And so I know we both were we weren't crying, and there was nothing. It was very subtle. So Candy knew I was having a meltdown bit, and so she got on my chest and did her little thing, but she helps hold my chest up so my breathing, relaxes. And then when she was done with me, she just quietly stepped off of me and onto my friend and did the task for her as well. And my friend was so amazed. She goes, I knew service dogs were very tuned into their owners, but I never realized that they would do it for somebody else. And I thought that was so fun. So she took care of me, stepped over, took care of my friend, and then came back and laid down. So she was really amazing. And my doctor, like you said, dogs can pick up things faster than the doctors. My one doctor, I always seen her a whole entire hour. She would do my vitals when I first came in there because of my pain management doctor. And this one particular time, she saw Candy getting on my lap and trying to task. And she said, oh, I think your dog's tasking. I said, yeah, she is. I said, and she goes, oh, no, let me check your vitals again. Sure enough, my blood pressure had went really, really dangerously high. I forget what it was. My blood pressure went up, my heart rate went up, and my oxygen went down because when you're
your heart rate,
And so they made me stay longer. I had to stay another extra hour because they wanted my heart rate back down. They weren't going to let me go on with the heart rate. But that's what Candy was trying. She was trying to, lay on me and hold my chest down. But she does pretty good. But yeah, so she knew that before the doctor did. The doctor didn't even know it till Candy started learning. And then
that's amazing.
And then a couple months later, the opposite. My blood pressure was dropping and my oxygen went down to I think 80, and they didn't like that. So,
they get kind of excited when they start seeing 80.
I know.
But so, look, we're going to need to get off of here.
I'm sorry.
We've got another 90 seconds before the next stream starts.
Well, I would say
down here.
I would say here's the thing that they need to consider. First, figure out what you need your service dog for, talk with your doctor and all that. And then second of all, figure out what breed can provide those. And then don't get a breed you're not familiar with it. Especially if you've never had a dog before. You need to really study up on whatever breed you're going to get. Breed is very important because people think, oh, I know my one friend, she goes, oh, I hear Huskies are good to do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, they are, but then she didn't realize how much work they are.
Very difficult to train.
And they're very mouthy. I don't mean like bite. I mean, they talk back.
Yes, they do talk back.
Yeah. Like when they've got enough food in their bowl, they'll come and find you in the living room and they will chew you out and they'll go back to their bowl and pace and you better get some more. So she didn't realize what she was getting herself into. So then she went with she got herself the, what do you call it? Her second, because that dog ended up being a pet and she got a golden retriever. So you need to know what breed you can work with. So do your homework on studying what that breed is really known for. Like the little dogs are good for, like you were saying about the blood sugar. Candy can get up there and check. I don't have diabetes, but if I did, she can get up there really close and quick, probably faster than, Pipsy could. But, you just have to talk with your doctor and talk with the vet. So between your vet and your doctor, and then you make an intelligent choice on that. So those are important things. Figure out what you need the dog for, what breed is going to be compatible for you, and then think of all the responsibilities. It's just like you said, it's like having a toddler. Yeah, you're going to have to end up having a diaper bag. You know how that is. You're going to have the food and treats and water and in the winter I take an extra pair of boots because if one pair of boots gets really muddy, I got the other one right there, and if we lose one if one falls off, I can just slip another one on. So yeah, you got to think about all that stuff. So
Yeah, it's a lot to think
if you
about.
don't want to have a lifetime child, you're not going to want a service dog.
Very well put.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all so much
All
for
right.
being here. The next channel should be starting like any minute now. I've dropped that link both in the description box for 6 p.m. and also in the chat. So you've got that. Please go support her. Don't forget, keep checking that GoFundMe link and keep sharing these live streams. That's so important. So, Laurel, thank you for being on today. And you all have a fabulous Black Friday. And thank you for coming out and supporting everybody's channels. So we'll see you. I'll pop in at the next live stream, and I'll be back on later tonight over on the other channel for the premiere. Thanks for watching, you all.
Okay.
See you on the
All right.
Bye.
Bye.